Okay, so I saw this video the other day and commented on it, and now somebody else is commenting on my comment, trying to defend the officer and the security guard. So sort of trying to say that the guard was in the right and the officer had every right because of so and so, and But here's the deal: under the actual law, Supreme Court ruling, case law for the state that this happened in, he didn't have to ID. He was arrested for obstruction. Obstruction is a physical act per the law for this state. He has to physically stop an officer from doing something. He has to stop. The officer literally threatens him. If you don't give me your ID by the time this other officer shows up, I'm going to arrest you for obstruction. He legally can't do that. He can't. First off, a security guard has a license. They're licensed through the state. The state licensing board for a security officer is observe and report. That's what you do. You see a crime, it has to be a misdemeanor or a felony for you to go hands-on or to stop somebody. He asks this man, do you live in this complex? Because the guy was walking through. He admits, the security guard admits that he witnessed the man leave a building, walk around the building, through the parking lot, and then back through this middle courtyard. And that's where he started to really talk to him. He followed him through the entire parking lot and around the building. The guy was getting confrontational, like, why the hell are you following me? Yeah, of course. I'd be confrontational too if some dude in a black beanie, black sweater, black pants, black shoes, a cross bag, and keeps putting his hand in the bag is following me. Hello? You're not doing anything. You're just following somebody. And then when you say something to him, you go, stop, I'm security. Give me your ID. What about this says security? The guy says that he's driving around in a personal vehicle, which under security regulations, a security company, if you are a security guard and you are a rover is a security guard that travels from site to site. That is what they're titled as. That's what the law reads. If you are a rover, your vehicle has to at least state on it security, the company you work for, and it has to have amber lights. That's how the licensing board puts it. He's driving around in a personal vehicle, not in a uniform. He pulls the band down and flashes his light on a thing that says the name of the property. And it's like, okay, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. He's like, this is the name of the property owner. Okay. The property owner is a corporation, and you have a corporation shirt, and it doesn't say the name of the actual property. Like the apartment complex has a name. Oak Village, Sunrise Estates. It doesn't have that. It has a corporation name on it, and he goes, this is the property owner. I work for them. So what does that say? Oh, if you don't give me your ID, I'm going to get you for a violation. You're violating state law, and you're harassing a tenant. You state to the officer that you personally watched him leave a building that requires a key to enter. In order to get into these buildings, you have to have a key. There's door buzzers and keys. That's how you get in. That's how that works. You state that he left a locked building and that he's just dressed, like he just sweatpants and walking around to clear his head. You watched him leave a building. Not only did he leave that building, he knew what the building was, and he knew names of the property managers, like the managers and the people that work in the office that this mouth breather works for and reports to. The officer shows up, and camera guy's like, hey, this clown just keeps harassing me. He's following me around. He says he wants my ID. This security guard has no authority to demand ID from anyone. He doesn't. Security guards don't have that authority. Second, the security guard says that the man is trespassing. That's not how it works. Trespass law for this specific state, and pretty much every other state in the U.S., you first must give them an opportunity to leave. You say, leave the property. If they do not leave the property, then you contact police and say, police show up and say, okay, they told you to leave, you refuse to leave. Are you going to leave? No? Okay, now you're trespassed after warning. That's how that works. You don't go, he's trespassing. Well, did you ask him to leave? No. Then he's not trespassing because he wasn't told to leave. Also, he resides there. He cannot legally be trespassed from a place he resides. That even if they tell him to leave and he refuses to leave, and then he gets arrested for refusing to leave, the moment he goes to court, it'll be thrown out. Thrown out. Because this idiot does not have the authority to trespass a resident. He doesn't. His thing is he has to observe and report. If he told the man to leave and he did not leave, then he could call the police and have him trespassed. But he still has to prove that the man does not live there. It's up to him to prove that the man does not live there. It is not up to the cameraman to prove that he does. That's not how it works. Innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The officer says, give me your ID. He says that he asked for it. No, he doesn't have to. As I said to Vader 1651, trespassing after warning is the crime. He was arrested for, obstruction. There was no obstruction. He didn't physically stop the officer from doing any task. He couldn't even get him with interference because interference is also a physical act. He can't even get the refusing to obey orders because this state has no stop and ID law. There is no law that says that anybody stopped and asked for their ID has to provide it. He was walking through an apartment complex that he resides in, and the security guard says, you have to give me your ID. The officer is now going, I'm going to arrest you because you didn't give him your ID. That's not a law. There's no law that says that this man has to hand over his ID to a security guard. There's no law that says he has to give his address when asked. There isn't. Reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. He was suspected of trespassing. No, he wasn't. And the reason why he wasn't suspected of trespassing is because Dick Stain here didn't say, leave the property. He asked him, do you live here? The man said, eat a bag of dicks. Yeah, you follow me around a parking lot and you keep putting your hands in your little cross chest ditty bag and you're gonna get some lead poisoning, because I don't know who you are. I don't like the way you're coming at me, and I don't like the fact that you're following me all dressed in black with a beanie on, and you're covering half your face. I don't trust you. If you're security, you should be wearing a shirt that says security across the chest and security across the back. You should be driving in a marked vehicle, at least with the stick-on magnets and a stick-on magnet roof mount of the amber lights. That's how the law says that you should be riding. A security guard has to, carry a badge with them, and in most cases it is a security license, which looks like a driver's license. It says, security guard, armed security guard, unarmed security guard. It gives the security license, the grantee, the state license, board number, registration number, the company that you work for, their ID number, their contact information, and so on. The security guards have to wear uniforms that show that they are security. You go to a bar and you see the guy at the outside, and it says staff, and then it says staff on the back. That is a bouncer or a staff member. They can work as courtesy officers. Courtesy officers don't have to have a badge or a license, but they still have to abide by the markings. There has to be proof. If you are a bouncer, you have to have a security guard card license, and you either armed, unarmed. That's how it works. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you are operating without a license, you can face severe fines. The company that hired you can face severe fines, and you may even be imprisoned for breaking that law. This guy, he's just dressed in all black, carrying a flashlight, and he goes, "I'm security, give me your driver's license." I don't know you. And I don't have to provide my driver's license to somebody dressed like this. I don't even have to provide my license to a security guard. You go to Walmart, you're walking around, you're putting stuff in your cart, and then some dickhead comes up behind you and goes, "I work here. Show me your ID." I don't have to. "Oh, well, I'm going to call the police. And then when the police show up, I'm going to have you arrested because you're trespassing. Or I'm going to have you arrested because you're shoplifting." There has to be a crime. You have to either ask me to leave, or I have to walk out with unpaid merchandise. If I'm in the store and you didn't ask me to leave, or I still haven't finished shopping, you can't get me for either of those. Neither can the police officers. That's not how this works. The officer walked up, asked this guy what's going on. He says, "Watch this guy walk out of a building. He walked around. I asked him if he lived here. He told me yes. He told me the building name. He told me the manager's name, but he won't give me his driver's license to prove that he lives here." Okay, so in your complaint stating this man was trespassing, you did not ask him to leave. He gave you a building number or letter. You saw him leave that same building. He gave you your boss's name. That dispels any complaint that he's trespassing, because he knows what he's doing and he walked out of the building that needs a key to enter. Your complaint is void. Suspicion is dispelled. The officer has no authority to ask you, the citizen, to prove that you live in a building. If you are on a property, say you go across town, You find a house. Nobody's home, but the lights are on, and you go and you sit in the front yard. You don't know who lives there. You don't know anything about the place. You just know what the address is because it's on the building. Officer pulls up, says, "Do you live here?" You say, "Yes, I live here." The officer cannot prove that you don't live there, and you don't have to prove that you live there. They can't just go, "Well, I don't believe you. Prove it." They can't go, "Well, you have to give me your driver's license to prove that you live here. You have to go up there and unlock the door to prove that you live here." Officers can't do that. They have to reasonably suspect that you don't belong there. They have to be like, "Okay, I know who lives here," or the neighbor said that you don't live here, and you, whatever. They can't just go, "Well, I see that you're out on this porch. I'm going to demand your ID. Give me your ID, or go to jail. You're trespassing." They can't do that. That's not how this works. This whole ordeal stems from a security guard not knowing his job, not dressing in the proper security attire, and then police officers not knowing the law. You cannot get somebody for obstruction for declining to give ID to somebody else. Give that cart pusher your wallet. No, you're going to jail for obstruction. Makes no sense. It's not even legal. This whole thing is just bull. And it's like, look at this guy. "Oh, I'm a security guard. Look at me, do as I say." Then you get all the way to this officer, this schmuck. "You have to give me your ID because this guy says that you don't live here." That's not how this works. First step. You, as an officer, must get that security guard's information. I could go across the river to the casinos, walk in, call the police. The police show up, and then I can go, "I'm a security guard. I want this person arrested for trespassing." It's not going to work because the officer has to go and get my information to prove that I work for this company, that I maintain this property. He didn't get the officer's information. He didn't get the property information from the owners. Sorry, I had popcorn. In order for you to be trespassed or any of this to even happen, you have to have some kind of standing. To trespass, the property owner or an agent of the property must make the complaint. In order for that complaint to be solid, they have to prove that they own the property or that they are, agents of the property owner. He didn't get any of that information from the security guard. He personally arrested the man for obstruction. It's not obstruction. The state has no ID law. You have to ID if you're pulled over in a car, but if you are on foot, you don't have to give an ID when asked, unless they suspect you and have proof to suspect you of committing a crime. But This officer took the word of a random person dressed in all black, carrying a flashlight that says, "I work here, arrest this man." It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. In order for the complaint to be legal, the officer has to get the information from the security guard. He has to get information from the property. He didn't do any of that. He personally felt that his authority was being questioned, so he said, "Okay, now you're obstructing." That's not how this works. It's not. It's fail from start to finish. I don't have to prove that I live somewhere to a security guard who can't even ID and isn't dressed as a security guard. I don't have to give ID to somebody who can't even explain to me what they want my ID for. Well, this guy over here said that you're trespassing, so give me your ID. Well, who is that guy to you? Who is he? He must prove that he has authority to trespass me. Also, in order to be trespassing, I have to be asked to leave first. They missed every step and every legal area of this entire thing. They missed every bit of it and screwed themselves. It is absolutely hilarious. Where is it? Yeah, second officer shows up. We've got dude sitting over there in the corner. This is the moron that arrested him. This is his backup. And then this officer down here is given all the paperwork to file. And it's like, okay, you've got unlawful arrest, you've got illegal detention, you've got just insane information going on here. The guy can now sue the security company. He can sue the property that he lives in for hiring that person. And he can sue the police department, which would then fall on the police department and the city's legal slush fund, which is all taxpayer money, for the illegal arrest. You can't arrest somebody for obstruction because they're not giving a security guard their driver's license. You can't. And I don't care. I don't care what this guy is. The request for ID does not have to be directly related to the investigation. Yes, it does. It physically has. It is directly related to the investigation. An officer's investigation into a crime, he must have probable cause, reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, and he must be investigating that crime. If the officer's investigating a stolen car, he can't get the ID of somebody inside of a shop buying ice cream. That's not the investigation. If it's not part of the investigation, then he can't deal with it. It is. Very often the investigation is nothing but pretext to verifying the ID, which is the real goal, to check one more guy for outstanding warrants completely unrelated to the investigation, even though SCOTUS, SCOTUS ruled that they have to have every bit of evidence to get that ID. I mean, the officers have that high that comes with getting somebody's ID. And it's like, this whole thing is just, it's hilarious. Like, you cannot arrest somebody for not IDing to a security guard. A person does not have to give ID when no crime has been committed or is suspected of being committed. Well, but he was suspected of trespassing. Well, no, because the guy never asked him to leave, so it can't be trespassing. There's no trespass if the security guard didn't say, "Get off my property" or "Leave this property," then he can't be trespassing because he wasn't warned of trespassing. And since he lives there, he cannot legally be trespassed or trespassing. The security guard, however, can be, because while he is a contractor for the company, he does not reside on that property, and therefore he can technically be trespassed if he's told to leave by a managing party. Again, the cop is in the wrong, the security guard is in the wrong, the guy that filmed was 100% in the right, and I hope he sues the living pants off these guys.